I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks. Also host a radio show called Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm here with Dr. Quinton Hennigh. He is an advisor to a company that I recently started covering in my newsletter called White Rock Minerals. It is a company that is Australian-based, doesn't trade in Canada, but it does trade in the United States under the symbol WRMCF, and it trades in Canada under the symbol WRM. 73 million shares outstanding, more or less, recently trading at around 50 cents in US money. So that gives you an idea of the market cap of the company. Its flagship property is the Red Mountain VMS deposit that is located in Alaska. It is a very zinc-rich, silver-rich, has a lot of precious metals in it. It's a very interesting project. It also, recently, the company came across a very rich gold target there as well, called the Last Chance target, and that's also of great interest to Dr. Hennigh. I know that maybe one of the reasons that he got involved with the company. Thank you for joining me today, Dr. Quinton. Dr. Quinton Hennigh, I should say.
No worries, Jay. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure.
Hey, it's great to have you. And this White Rock Minerals is really an interesting story. I'm not sure if you got involved with it because of the Last Chance gold project, or talk to us about that, because it's a big project, and you only get involved with big things. But VMS, it's a VMS project, and then a gold target as well that I think is next to the VMS deposit, right?
That's right. Look, you know, part of the reason I'm involved is because the geologist Rowan Warland, who's heading the exploration, like myself, he was at Newmont, and we both kind of think along the same wavelength in terms of approach to big systems. You know, let's go find a big prize. About February of last year, this is right about the time COVID was hitting, which was, you know, not opportune, but he sent me an email saying, have you seen our Bleg results? They just published some stream sediment results from the Red Mountain property. Now, they were actually targeting looking for new VMS systems on their property, but these Bleg results had very, very good gold numbers. In fact, one of the samples was over 400 parts per billion. And in a Bleg sample, that's kind of off the chart kind of stuff. So based on that, I was very interested in that gold anomaly. Not to say that the VMS wasn't of interest. I actually saw the VMS as providing an underpinning for the value of the company and some of their other assets. And that this gold target really added kind of the spice that you needed. So I talked to Rowan. It was kind of between March and May when, you know, COVID was unfolding, and, you know, it was pretty tough. But we, you know, as the market started to improve, especially for gold, we were able to round up money for him in May, and it was based on the exploration plan that Rowan presented to me, and we worked out, you know, some details, and he felt compelled he could get in and do some work on this gold target. So, you know, the history I have with the company dates back about a year now. We did a lot of work last summer. We've demonstrated that there is high grade potential at Last Chance. We have a lot of money in the bank, fortunately, so we're going to hit it hard this year. But it's an absolutely compelling story, exploration story, really swing for the fence kind of stuff.
Wow. So yeah, the Red Mountain already has a sizable deposit there. I think something like 9 million tons or something like that. Talk to us about that, and you know, what's there? What sort of grades?
Okay. Look, Red Mountain is an amazing deposit. I mean, they basically like got two zones that currently have drill resources in aggregate about 9 million tons. Very high grade zinc. I think the zinc numbers are, you know, in the 10-12% range. But the silver is also very high. The silver is about 5 ounces per ton. There's a fair bit of gold, about 1 gram per ton gold. You know, so, you know, if you look at the contribution of silver and gold, the precious metal, to this mineralization, it's actually starting to creep up and take precedence over the base metal. Now, what is it? Well, it's a VMS system, but what intrigues me about it the most is it resembles a very particular type of VMS deposit that is known in the geologic community called Rammelsberg. Okay, Rammelsberg is a very, very famous deposit in Germany, of all places. It was mined in history. It's not currently in operation. but it was a world-class deposit, produced lots and lots of zinc and a bit of lead, but it had very good silver numbers like this. It had a significant gold. It is kind of, in my mind, an analog for what they see at Red Mountain. And it was a big system. I mean, these guys are at 9 million tons right now. Could it grow to 20? Very easily. Okay. I look at where they're drilling right now. I went over the exploration program, and we will be drilling here this coming season. I see easy potential to expand the existing resources, but I mean, there are just scads of new targets to drill. It's mind-boggling how many EM targets there are. This, in many ways, is like the Eskay story. In effect, there are. Look, this is the beauty of working with Rowan, is that we actually use the same geophysicists, so we use the same approach. Okay, he's done effectively the same work there that we've done at Eskay, and because of that, I can see these just compelling drill targets all over the place. And I think they could easily grow this thing to, tens of millions of tons of this high-grade zinc, silver, gold. Now, what's an analog in Alaska? Okay, that's important. Is there anything else like it? Yes, there is. There's a very, very famous mine called Greens Creek. I believe it's Hecla that operates Greens Creek. It mints money. Even at depressed silver prices, it's always done well. The base metal basically covers the cost of mining, and you get your silver and other, like gold and other, your precious metals basically for free. Okay, so these deposits can be just wonderful cash cows. It's a very, very highly prospective, very compelling target at Red Mountain.
Right, and so you see lots of upside, lots of potential to expand that 9 million tons is what I'm hearing you say.
Absolutely.
And how, I know the season is somewhat short there. How is the access to it, and when can you get in there and start drilling?
Yeah, the drilling can actually start in June. Probably it's dependent on weather, like you would expect, but usually mid-June you can start drilling, and then that can carry on until to mid, maybe late September at the latest. This is remote Alaska. It is elevated, so you start to see the snow, the serious snow and cold pick up. But that gives you a window of about 3.5 months to operate. The company is securing drills. I think they've already got their contract signed, if I understand things correct. So they'll talk more about the exploration plans here shortly. I don't want to spoil that punchline, but they will have the ability to do some pretty serious meters this season, both at Red Mountain on the VMS and the gold as well. Last Chance.
At Last Chance, yes. And so talk to us a little bit more about Last Chance, a little bit about the geology.
Yeah, look, it is a classic orogenic gold system. Orogenic is just a generic term that means a gold deposit that formed associated with mountain building, mountain formation. Okay, and these deposits, they form from fluids that come from deep in the ground. The fluids emerge up along major structures, faults, and as they get closer and closer to the surface, they start precipitating the gold they have for various chemical reasons. That gold starts to come out. And you can end up with some very, very high grades, especially where these things get close to surface. Newfound's an example. The Swan Zone at Fosterville is another example. Why I'm intrigued so much with Last Chance is I see very compelling evidence that you're up in the upper part of the system. We see a lot of brittle stockwork veining. We see a lot of brecciation and silicification, like pervasive silicification. It looks like you're hovering right around the top of a major orogenic system. Okay, where could the goodies be? Well, look, the relief on the property is huge. I mean, from the bottom of the valleys up to the tops of the mountains is hundreds of, I think it's over a kilometer in total relief. Okay, so to put that in perspective, like most of the work we did last year focused on higher elevation. We got our drill in I think early August, and we were able to drill, I think it was 8 or 9 or 8 holes, I think it was. And we didn't get all the holes done we wanted. Most of them were shallow, and they tested that shallow part of the system. It hit what you would expect to hit in the shallow part of the system. This year, we're taking a look. We did CSAMT. We're looking at the deeper part of the system. I imagine we'll come down to lower elevations down into more of the valley and test targets that are perhaps down in that more prospective high grade, potentially high grade part of the system. Now that said, we did hit. They found high grade at surface. They saw high grade in drill hole, so it's there.
Yeah, and you did have one intersection, I think, that was pretty impressive. So, I mean, for starters.
Yeah, for starting.
Yeah. So, okay. So, you have how well funded is the company at this stage? Is it going to need some money?
Yeah. Look, I don't, I'm an advisor, so I don't have an immediate dollar figure in hand, but I believe I heard 13 million is Australian, their Australian company, is what they have in the bank account right now. Now they are going through some major transitions here. They've decided to merge with a company called Ozstar. I think it's a fantastic move. I know Ozstar very well. It's got the Morningstar mine. It got the property around that is over, I think it's 600 and some odd square kilometers of some of the most prospective ground in the Victorian goldfields.
Yeah.
Fantastic move. I think that was a brilliant move. Fully endorse it. That gives them something they can work on year round. It also is a producing mine. Look, Morningstar, it's not a big mine, but it is a producing mine. If they can get that under control, who knows, maybe they can get a cash flow situation where they have the cash to explore that property, but also maintain work up in Alaska. I mean, that's the big dream here. Is that it's a self-sustaining company.
So I understand there's some news with Mount Carrington as well as a project that they had.
That's right. Just this week, they talked about Mount Carrington. They are doing an earn-in joint venture with, I believe the company is called Thompson Resources.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good move because that means they don't have to spend maintenance money and a lot of money on permitting and other aspects that would otherwise draw funds away from their exploration. Thompson Resources can do the heavy lifting. They get up to 70%. White Rock will still retain 20%, but what makes it all work over there is that Thompson Resources brings all the ground surrounding Mount Carrington into the picture. So it really bolts together a compelling story. Whereas Mount Carrington by itself didn't have kind of the critical mass that was needed perhaps to build a long sustaining mine. So I think that again, that's a very wise move. Basically they're reorganizing things right now to become a very much more effective explorer and focus on their expertise. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, it certainly seems to have that ability to have some news flow during the winter season.
Correct.
Here, which is a big plus for companies. But they do have enough money to get going and to get moving into the drill season, I guess, in Alaska.
Yep.
I'm really glad that you're involved with this now, Quinton, because I see it as a very undervalued story. Probably, getting it out here into these markets should be helpful. The other thing I think is that with the VMS and these other base metals right now, at a time when I think we're heading into an inflationary environment where lots of metals are doing, look at copper, for example, the metals are doing very well. And silver is having a run, I think, that is probably being suppressed by certain interests. But the paper markets, and interestingly enough, recently on a panel discussion I was on, a bullion dealer said he believes that we'd need to see something like $50 silver before we would see silver come out to the markets. They're having enormous waiting periods to fill orders for silver.
Yes.
The physical isn't available. The paper markets keep slamming the market, so there's no price discovery. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But the point is that we're seeing a lot of bullishness in base metals and silver, in addition to gold. Gold is always gold.
Yeah.
And you, as I understand, Quinton, you have quite a lot of upside really at Last Chance too. Maybe just hit on that.
Look, at Last Chance, the gold anomaly with the new legwork that was done and the extension of the tenements they have to the west and south, the thing I believe is now 30, it's massive. It's like 30 square kilometers or something in size. Absolutely enormous gold anomalous area. And I think we're starting to see the picture of the vertical profile of the system, where to go and focus on the higher grade. So that is a great target in itself. But like you said, there's been a major shift over the past 12 months here. When I first agreed, to help White Rock back in May of 2020, silver was still, I think, $14 or, something like this. Okay. Not a lot of traction there, but I'll tell you, when I saw that, I thought, you know what? this company basically already has a bird in hand. Okay, if you think about it, they've got 9 million tons of very, very high grade zinc, silver, gold, It's a wonderful base for the company. Like, it takes away a lot of the risk around the company. All right. Then I looked and I said, well, do they have potential to find, 20 or 30 or 40 million? Absolutely. Holy cow. I mean, if this is a Rummelsburg type system and all these EM anomalies they have, even if half of them turn up something, this could be a major, major discovery. And that, imagine finding a high grade silver zinc discovery in this age right now. Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Very exciting. Yeah, very exciting. I'm really glad that you're involved with the company, Quinton. So it is White Rock Minerals, and trades in Australia under WRM, and down here in the States, you can buy it as I have under WRMCF. Quite a story, and we look forward to keeping up to date as things move forward. Quinton, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay.
With us today.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.